So hello folks, it's a pretty nice day here in Canada today. Sun's starting to come out more. It's a little cool, but it's still early spring. But today I'm going to talk more about this Ukraine-Russian war, some more recent developments that have happened in about the last 4 or 5 days. And I mean, so much is happening that it's kind of hard to keep up with it at times. And then just my view on, really what has led up to the last 30 years and where we're at now. So some major developments here is number one, Ukraine war pushes Germany to improve bunker infrastructure. Interesting. France is preparing gas rationing. Also interesting due to the whole energy crisis that is nailing Europe right now. Poland has issued a, quote, citizen's guide for crisis and war. It really goes to show you how on alert Poland is with this whole situation, and for very obvious reasons if you understand history. This is a big development today that involves us here in Canada with this war. Canadian troops are being deployed to Poland on, quote, humanitarian crisis. That tells you a lot too. USA has credible info Russia may use chemical agents in Ukraine. That just kind of sounds like another ploy or just a reason for them to get involved in the war. Ukraine says it has detained fugitive oligarch Viktor Medvedchuk, however you say that, a pro-Russian opposition leader and close Putin ally. Ukraine's the flourishing and great democracy that they claim it to be. Definitely not. Russia puts heavy equipment near Finland. I have a feeling that they're going to go after Finland and Scandinavia and those Baltic states next if this war progresses more, which it most likely will. And one last point here is Moscow/Russia threatens Kiev and USA if they send heavy equipment. So this thing just keeps escalating and escalating if you're really paying attention to what's going on and following news from all over the world and such, and doing some digging like I am, and same with other people out there. But now I'm going to talk about really what's gone on the last 30 years and, the world that we've been living in and such. So, we've been living in this free trade, globalized, very open world for quite a few years. And that started basically with the fall of the Soviet Union. And the fall of the Soviet Union started with Chernobyl. Like, that was a very significant event with that power plant blowing up. It basically exposed what was going on behind the Iron Curtain, and it eventually led to its downfall 5 or 6 years later. And, before the Soviet Union fell, and when the Soviet Union was still intact, the world was not as open as it is now. It was not this globalized open world as much, and it was more closed off, obviously, with the Iron Curtain and most of the Eastern Bloc, or a good chunk. And, we were producing more here in North America and in the West more, and we were more industrialized as nations. But basically, when the Soviet Union fell, it opened up the world more and such. And for sure, we beat communism and we beat a communist nation, but in some cases, it wasn't really a good thing because, we had politicians that came along like Bill Clinton, which basically put in NAFTA. And then before he left in 2001, he admitted China to the World Trade Organization. And he basically sold America down the river and the middle class of America. And politicians did similar things here in Canada as well. So it's like, we became, we beat one communist nation, but we basically just allowed another communist nation to build itself up, which is China, and we lost our middle class. And I think what we should have been doing after the fall of the Soviet Union is we should have just kept more of our own industry, but we should have tried to help those post-Soviet states like in Eastern Europe there, like Ukraine and Serbia and the Balkans and all that stuff, and maybe even some of those Central Asian countries like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, etc. We should have helped them build up their economies more instead of China, and we should have kept more of our own industry, as I said before. So now, I think we're going back to that, that pre-free trade, world where there's a Western bloc and an Eastern bloc forming now. And, and the world is not going to be connected as it once was. And that's pretty much how I see it, is we're going back to that kind of world where things are going to be more separated and more divided. And essentially there already isn't another Iron Curtain that's formed with all this sanctioning of Russia and cutting off Russia and all these companies moving out of Russia and stuff as well. So the world is not going to end, but the world as we know it is ending. Have a good day.